A Game of Geeks podcast, episode number 3.
Welcome to the podcast, A Game of Geeks, where living in your parents' basement isn't a bad thing, it's a requirement. And now, here are your hosts, the subject of the 1980s documentary Revenge of the Nerds, Garrett and Dave.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Game of Geeks, the podcast that specializes in anything with swords, lasers, fangs, lightsabers, and anything else that is cooler than real life. I am your host, Garrett Robinson, author of Non-Zombie, and with me, as always, is co-host David Wright, author of a lot of things, but most notably, coming out on Tuesday, White Space Season 2, which not only as your co-host, but as a fan of your work, is the one that I'm most excited about.
And the one I feel will most disappoint everyone with.
No, come on now. Don't say that.
I don't like expectations. I prefer when people think it's really going to suck. When people think it's going to be great, then we actually have to live up to it.
Yeah, but the only reason that you think that it has the highest expectations is because I'm the only person who, like, regularly contacts you and is fanatically raves about, dude, White Space Season 2, where is it? Where is it? Give it to me now.
You are the only person I know that contacts me, but it is actually a reader favorite. So
Really?
It's the thing we get the most email about other than Yesterday's Gone.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of feeling like, oh, we better not fuck this up. But really, what?
Go ahead.
Well,
no, I was just going to say, that means that when Yesterday's Gone comes out, you guys are going to be, like, freaking out. Like, oh, my God.
I'm already freaking out. That's why it's taken until summer. But
so it's coming this summer?
Yeah.
Excited.
I'll probably try to delay it till winter. But
by the way, we should really try and get sponsorship by Newcastle, because I'm always sitting here sipping on it.
And
Just
Diet
saying.
Coke. Or
And
Diet
Coke.
Pepsi. Or Diet Pepsi. I'll be horrified either.
We'll sing the goddamn theme song on this show. That will happen. If you'll pay us money, we'll fucking...
There's a theme song?
For Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know
it
that.
by heart. I'm not going to sing it right now, but I just trust me.
That teach the world to sing thing?
No,
That old one?
no.
Oh, there's a new one. Oh, okay. I don't know.
Just
I don't watch
for
television.
the taste of it. Yeah, okay. Or you watch it on Netflix, so you don't have to see the goddamn commercials.
Exactly.
Do you see commercials as like somebody talking in the middle of your show?
I don't really mind the commercials because it gives me a chance to get up and reload my Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke.
Whichever one of you gives us money first.
Yes.
Awesome.
But no commercials on HBO, and that is a beautiful thing.
Oh, it's so nice. It's really good. The other thing, like, okay, so you can watch shows like even shows like Sons of Anarchy, which I love, or
Never seen it.
it's great, fantastic show.
I'm sure it is. I've just never seen it.
Fringe. Have you seen Fringe?
Yes, I haven't seen the last season yet because I missed like a few. So I was like, I'll just catch on Netflix. So I will soon.
It's pretty good. It starts to wander a little bit in the middle, which I thought was weird for a final season, but whatever. Anyway, but you watch these shows on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, and there's that obvious space where there is supposed to be a commercial break. It's like, and then it cuts to the next scene, which is usually the same scene, and it sort of leads back in, and that's very annoying. But because HBO doesn't do commercials at all, you just get an hour of programming, or 55 minutes or whatever. It's fantastic. I love that.
Speaking of Hulu, I want the guy that does the voiceovers, like when you're watching it. Say, this is brought to you by Hulu, but like a really deep voice. I want him to like be our announcer.
I'll get right on that.
When we get our Diet Coke or Pepsi money.
Exactly.
So have we put this on a website yet, or are we just talking to ourselves still?
We're still totally talking to ourselves, and like one or
Great.
two people who I know watch us live. No, I was supposed to this week, and then God, I'm actually not writing something that I should be writing right now in order to do this, which is the Ninja Bread Man. which also comes out on Tuesday. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, it comes out on Tuesday, and I'm still like finishing it like right now. It's.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
So you don't believe in editing then?
No, I do. I believe, I believe that I can edit really fast, and I'm co-writing it with Zach, so it's like we both will be able to work on it. Like, he will be working in the Scrivener file, I'll be reading the Moby file and like making notes in that, and then at the end I'll just search through all my notes and add them in and everything, and then Monday night we hit publish. Woo!
How many words do you have left to go?
You mean like, well, it's written. We're
editing now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm editing now. Zach isn't editing it because my first draft is done and I'm still going through it and yada yada yada. So anyway, it's pretty awesome though. It's pretty fucking epic.
Of course it is.
So let's talk
writers.
Game of Thrones. We are totally epic writers. Let's talk Game of Thrones.
All right.
So this episode was pretty intense. Right at the end, it was another one where like not a whole lot happened, but then at the end it got really fucking intense.
It was called Walk of Punishment.
Right.
The episode title.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think that referred to, by the way?
Jamie and what's her name? Brynn? Is that her name?
Brienne.
I think it was their walk, and maybe a bit of Theon as well.
Yeah, that was a pretty intense scene too. Theon scene, run away from. Oh, by the way, just in case you're, spoiler alerts for the third episode of the third season of Game of Thrones. So Theon runs away, and then they capture him. The guys that were holding him prisoner, they capture him. One of them sneaks around him with a mace and hits him in the chest and knocks him down. I'm like, okay, so they recaptured him. They're going to take him back to the thing. And then one of them rips down his drawers and starts to rape him in the ass.
Well, he didn't actually get to the raping. He didn't. He was in pre-rape mode.
He was in pre-rape. But I'm just like, how is that a thing? Like, you try to run away? We caught you, now we're going to rape you in the ass. It's like, what?
That is what happens when you have a breakdown of civilization. Everybody turns to rapists. Well, men anyway.
Oh, God.
Women don't go around raping.
Well, I imagine some women probably do. Brienne seems like the type who would rape somebody. On. Yeah, exactly. No, she's more like that chick. Do you hear about this chick in I don't know, some bumfuck middle of nowhere, and she...
Florida?
Okay, so some dude... What?
In Florida? Florida,
no.
A rare Florida. Go ahead.
I think it was, a rare Florida dig. I think it was Kansas or something like that. Anyway, so this dude tries to break into this woman's house, and... I think it was either Kansas or Arkansas because they both got Kansas letters in them. So I always
they're the same. Even
they're the exact opposite sides of the country. But anyway, so this dude tries to break into her home, but I think she like subdued him, but not like subdued him, but like made him get down on the floor because she had a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets down on the floor and she knocked him unconscious. And when he woke up, he was naked. He was strapped to a chair, and she had force-fed him 3 Viagra. And she proceeded to beat and rape him for 4 days before he finally escaped. This is a true story.
Awesome.
It's just, again, I'm just like, where the fuck does that come from? You stop a guy breaking into your house and you proceed to rape him for 4 days? Like, what the fuck?
That never happened to me when I broke into people's houses. But it was always supermodels and
What are you saying? They had higher standards?
Yeah. But if someone breaks into your house, you have the right to do whatever you want. Personally, I would have cut his dick off. But that's just me. Put it on the table with the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so that's fun. So that happened, and then some dude, of course, showed up and rescued him. Did you recognize him? Was he supposed to be the guy who was back at the? Was he the guy back at the tower who helped
That
him
let him
escape?
loose. Mm-hmm.
It was. Okay, well
Pretty
then that was my fuck up because I was watching it with my wife and she was like, "No, it's the guy from back in the tower." And for some reason, maybe it was just the lighting or something, he looked different to me. So I thought it was a different person and I was like, "Well, now who the fuck is this person?"
I think he's got to be like a Stark loyalist though, because he said winter is coming, and
Yeah.
that's something I've only heard the Stark saying, right?
Yeah, it's their house, their family motto or whatever.
Sounds like my family motto.
Your name, that's still my favorite pickup line from that Game of Thrones joke. Your name must be Winter because you're about to be coming. I think I've managed to say that in every episode so far. So
Well, nobody's listening yet, so it doesn't.
yeah,
matter.
well, it doesn't matter. Or actually, what that means is that we'll like finally put the podcast up, and then people will start listening, and they'll hear it 3 times in a row, and they'll be like, "Jesus Christ, Garrett, get over
Okay,
it."
you're assuming that whoever stumbles upon this podcast, say on episode 4, is actually going to care enough to go back and listen and say, "Oh, I have to hear more of this shit."
Oh, Lord Almighty! All right, Tyrion was so every scene of Tyrion in this show was amazing. First, he's in a meeting with the Little Council at King's Landing, and his sister makes this big deal of carrying her chair around to sit at her father's right hand. And then he walks over and he drags his chair for like 30 seconds to the other end of the table because he can't pick it up. So it
to the other head of the table, though.
Exactly. So
Brilliant.
it was like, yes, I'm a dwarf and I'm dragging my chair, but do you know where I'm dragging my chair? I'm dragging my chair to the head of the goddamn table, which I thought was awesome.
I love him.
What do you think?
Be like the main character, like the whole damn thing. I'd love it.
Absolutely, and that's why I got. By the way, there's only one more thing that I know of in the books that happens that hasn't happened in the show yet. Like, there's only one more thing, and everything else is sort of like in virgin territory for me. I don't know what's happening to Theon. I don't remember what happens to Tyrion next. It's like
so
we're getting.
Well, I thought you said you were at half of it, and I can't imagine they're already at the halfway point because the season's going to end at the halfway point.
I know the next big thing that happens to one of the main characters, but I don't remember what happens next to any of the other ones.
So it's told out of sequence, the show, compared to the way the book was?
Right, because the way that the book will work is that they'll tell Jaime's story for 500 pages, and then Rob's story for 500 pages, and then Tyrion for 500 pages, and so on.
They don't go back and forth.
They do, but to a limited extent.
Wow.
You know, because
not like I do.
Right. Martin's chapters are fucking, 300-page chapters, and he'll give a couple chapters to each character at a time. So what they're doing is they're telling everybody's stories congruently, which I like. It's cool.
Oh, yeah.
But I only know of like one more major event, and it happens to one specific character, which I won't say because then you'll start to guess at what that is. Everything else is virgin territory.
See, what do you think of Arya?
I thought that was cool. It was a cool, cute little. It wasn't particularly significant, but like leaving the guy behind, and we know for sure that the Brotherhood without banners, like they're not anti-Stark. They're gonna, I think that they're gonna rescue her or whatever.
And the Hound is on her list. Because she had asked him, "Do you remember the last time you were here?" Which was reference to the butcher's boy that he killed.
Right.
So
brutally.
I can't imagine she's actually going to try to kill him,
though. She might. I can't imagine that she will kill him. I can imagine that she will try.
Well, I guess she doesn't know that he had helped her sister out, though.
No,
she doesn't know the nice side of the Hound.
Yeah, and even then, I, if it were me and I knew the nice side of the hound, I would be like, oh, okay, he's redeemable. I still have to kill him, but he's redeemable. But getting back to Tyrion, his whole thing with Pod and buying him 3 hookers, that was hilarious. I could not stop laughing. That was amazing.
I got the feeling that the whole thing, like with the money, was like planned out ahead of time. Like he did that to instill a confidence in. Like they didn't really reject the money. Do you think? Did you think that at all? Or no?
That's a good point. That probably was. That was probably just to even more like to lay it on with Pod and be like, no,
and they can all bond together. And yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's fucking cool, awesome. And Braun was amazing. That whole conversation with Braun, the basic theory is I lend you money. You pay it back after a certain time with interest. But what if I don't? No, you have to. But what if I don't? This is why I never lend you money.
Wow, we don't even need to play clips. We could just have you reenact the show. Now I want you to do Danny's lines.
She was badass.
Now, this is what I think is going to happen.
Yes.
I think that she is going to give this dude the dragon and then basically have the dragon just fucking destroy the guy.
That would be my guess. That would be like, okay, so the deal's done. You've got the dragon in the cage, and I own the Unsullied. Yes, that's all true. Unsullied, kill everybody. And dragons, kill that guy.
Because I think she's trying to free these people. I mean, she's probably, she doesn't want to free her army, but she wants to make sure that this guy doesn't go and replace the slaves that she's buying. That's the feeling I got anyway.
Exactly. And I really like about her, there's a leadership quality that she has, which is now she has 2 chief advisors. And one of them says do option A, and one of them says do option B, and they're arguing the wherewithals and the whys and the wherefores of both options and which one's right and which one's wrong. And then she just goes and does C. I love that.
I think that both men, though, they are offering viewpoints that she's thought of herself. Like they're like the angel and devil on her shoulder. Not that one's good or bad, but they're both saying things she's already thought of. But I think she's going her own way. So in a secretive sort of way, so they don't know, so they can't, so they won't try to talk her out of it. What she's planning.
Right, because I don't think that if she is doing that and she's like, all right, wipes out the city and now has her Unsullied army, I don't think that either one of them would approve that. And it's different from both of their plans. So she's just like hearing what they're saying, weighing all of the factors, and then she just says, well, I'm going to do this other thing, and I don't think either one of them would like it very much. She's very merciful and benevolent until she's not. And then she's really unmerciful.
So to your knowledge, does she do anything that would make her like an evil character?
No, not really. Like nothing that I've seen is evil. She's just going for the same thing everybody else is going for, but she never breaks her own code of honor, so to speak. She never goes against her own morality to achieve whatever it is she's trying to achieve.
Okay.
Not never, but
well, as far as you read, anyway.
Right, and she resists anything, but she also doesn't get hung up about it. Like if something happens that she didn't intend, she's like, "Fuck," and she gets kind of sad about it for a second, and then she's like, "Well, it's done, and all I can do is move on and try not to have it happen again."
See, it's going to be interesting if seeing how all these things are coming together and forces against one another. I mean, what's going to happen, a season or 2 down the road when, like, she is specifically responsible for killing a character we love, like, Tyrion or someone like that. It's going to be very...
Don't say that. I want him to live.
It's just going to be interesting how we can like and hate somebody at the same time. I think, Martin's doing a great job at that, and people that are writing it for HBO are doing a great job at
Right.
making you both love and despise the same people. Kind of like The
Right.
Wire did.
Yeah, I never watched The Wire, but after you and Sean have been raving about it so much, I'm like, no, I gotta fucking.
Well, I was watching an interview with the guys that write Game of Thrones, and they were very much inspired by the way The Wire was done, in the
Oh,
way
that's
they're bringing
awesome.
this story. So, yeah, and once you watch The Wire, you'll just be in love with a guy named Omar. He's like complete and total badass.
I keep hearing about him. Like everybody's like, dude, The Wire. There's this one character named Omar. Like that's the first thing. He's not even the main character, is he?
He's one of the. There's different sections of the show. There's there's the police, there's teachers, there's dock workers, and there's the street criminals in the organizations. He's sort of like this rebel, sort of complete badass street criminal who has like no allegiance to anyone. He's his own guy, and nobody fucks with him because he's total badass. So
Nice.
to say any more would be to spoil it, but he has some of the best one-liners ever. There's like YouTube clips like devoted to his one-liners.
That's awesome. I read the Rolling Stone article this week about they did an interview with the girl who plays Daenerys,
Yes.
and or an interview, more like an article about her with like certain like interview questions with her, but like more generally
feature.
just an article about her. Yeah, exactly. And she just seems awesome. She's a British actor, and they were having a hell of a time finding somebody for that role. And they were going through people, and they didn't like anybody. And they were finally, they were getting to the point where they were like, okay, well, we got to settle for somebody because we got to start shooting. And then she sent in her audition tape from England. And immediately the producers were like, yes, get her on a plane to Los Angeles right now. We'll do final casting and whatever, but like, she's it. Meanwhile, she is in England. She sends her audition tape, and she's just like, she sent it off, and she's like, on to the next thing. She's like, there's no way in hell. My agent told me to send it, so I'm going to send it. So I sent it, and now go off and pursue something else, because she said there was no way she was ever going to get that role as far as she thought. 48 hours later, she's on a plane to Los Angeles, which I just think is so cool, because like she still appears to be being so real about everything and like very down to earth.
I think Amelia Clark is her name.
Yes.
Now, did they cast her because the character is like so much younger in the book, and they needed an adult that could actually like have nudity and stuff?
Right, exactly. Yeah, the girl in the book is 16.
I thought 17? She was even younger. I don't know. I remember reading.
I want to say 14, but that just seems pedo.
Well, it's the olden days. You got married when you were 9 back then.
But yeah, she's very young, and the girl in the show. I mean, in the show, they've never explicitly said how old she is, but she looks like she could be a teenager, even though we know that she's not, because she looks like she could be underage, even though we know that she's clearly not, because we've seen a lot of her.
How do they deal with the aging in the books? Do the kids like is the span of the books? Do the kids like grow like many years? Are they gonna have to like recast these roles, or do you know?
I mean, the span of the books is just like, by the time where I'd left off in book 3, it was like maybe a year, couple years, something like that.
Because I noticed Bram kid in the most recent not tonight's but the last week's, he looked a lot older. It's like, I don't know how old he is in the books, but they're gonna have to, I don't know if they're gonna have to recast him or what, because he looked much older than when he originally did, but I don't know his age in the book, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only thing with child actors. I mean, it's the Walt phenomenon from Lost,
right,
where it's like all of a sudden one year, hey, he went through puberty. It's like, Jesus Christ.
They should just cast adults in all the roles. And
yeah, exactly. Be terrible. No, I don't know. They probably are just going to let it ride because it's like, even though yes, he looks quite a bit older, he's still very recognizably Brands. So it's like, you can deal with it.
I think the most tragic scene in tonight's story was when fat dude, I forget his name,
Sam,
yeah, when he went back to that village and that girl gave birth,
and it was a
and she,
boy.
yeah, I was like, oh shit, that's got to be horrible. So I'm guessing he's gonna do something to kill that dude that's there.
I
I'm hoping he
do.
does.
I do happen to know a little bit of what happens there, and Sam. Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to say anything.
The girl that plays the pregnant woman, I actually saw her on a, what do you call it, IMDb, and she was actually in other stuff. She's actually like really pretty.
Yeah.
She doesn't look pretty in the, well, she doesn't look pretty on the show. She looks very
No. Yeah, I know. I know what you mean, but it just came across as funny. No, she's actually good, fairly good looking. Like she's actually relatively.
She's actually not a train wreck.
Right.
Sam's actually like 140 pounds.
Yeah. He's just in a fat suit the whole show.
Yeah, well, that's my excuse.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, I'm in a fat suit. I would have said that the most tragic scene would have been the final scene with Jamie. I mean, that was brutal. He's renowned as the best. Yeah, but like, dude,
it
kill
did
a
shock
dude, right? He's renowned as the best swordsman in anywhere. Nobody is better than him, and they cut off his hand. It's like, wow.
Is he right-handed?
Yes, he is.
Can he fight with his left hand? Do you know?
Probably not. Not very well, because it's not like. I mean, yes, I'm sure he could fight with two swords, but he fights with a sword and a shield. Like, that is the way that he fights. So
you could probably still use his shield with a stump.
Yeah, no, but like he's got his shield on his left. What I'm saying is that he's used to fighting with a sword in his right hand and a shield in his left hand. So now he has no right hand, so he's got to use his sword in his left hand, and I'm sure he's not very practiced with it.
I'm just wondering how he's going to be able to masturbate.
Well, that's that's actually a benefit. You heard of the whole ghost hand or whatever? Feels like somebody completely different is doing it when you use your non-normal hand.
No, what I thought was interesting about it was that he actually did something good. It was punished for it.
Right. Right. Right.
Such a bastard thing to do.
This is one of the reasons that I hate Martin. It's like, dude, come on. Can't have
never do anything nice for anybody. That's the
right. Exactly. Look out for yourself. Play to win. Da 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 da.
So I'm curious. I wish they would have. I really thought that they were going to escape in tonight's episode. That he's going to find a way, but I like that didn't happen. Well,
See, I knew that his hand was going to get cut off. I didn't remember that it happened right there. Hi, Chrissy. Chrissy Moss is watching us live, and she said, "Glad I arrived in time to hear about the masturbation."
We did that just for you, Chrissy.
That was all of our masturbation jokes are for Chrissy. Oh God. So anyway, no, but I didn't remember that it was going to happen there. Like with this group. I didn't remember that context that it happened in. But like regardless, man, you couldn't have done a worse thing to Jamie. That's all that he's got. He doesn't really have his honor. He's got that in his family. So now all he's got is his family. Like that's it.
That's exactly why you do that to him.
Right, exactly.
And also if you say he's going to undergo this transformation and become a likable character, then I think that this would somehow force him into that.
Yeah, it does accelerate that process. What was funny though was that those guys would have been well served bringing him back to the Lannisters, because they would have gotten everything that he said. They would have gotten money and a king, land, and like been raised to nobility and all that sort of stuff. They shouldn't have unchained him from the tree if they were going to do that. But if they kept him chained, right? If they'd kept him chained and like brought him back to his father and been like exchanged money, da 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 da, and if the father had said, "Okay, the Lannisters keep their promises, they pay their debts," like they would have.
A Lannister always pays his debt.
Exactly, they would have gotten pretty much whatever they wanted to.
See,
so it's kind of ironic.
Well, and also it made me curious though that they didn't care enough about the money that they would get from the Lannisters. Yet the guy called off the raping of the woman for that reward, unless he was just stringing him along and just to trick Jamie, and then they're going to rape her afterwards.
Yeah,
then cut her arms off. It's horrible.
No, I know they don't do that.
Well, that's good, because I want to see her kill that motherfucker.
I hope so. Yeah, that was pretty brutal, and I thought that she was going to get raped, because I don't think that happened in the books, but they do change minor details here and there from the books. She did a really great job of freaking the fuck out, which I think was is the appropriate response in that situation, but not in like a oh help me kind of way, but in like a desperate caged animal, I'm going to literally like tear you apart with my teeth if I can kind of way.
Yeah, I imagine that's how most people would be if they were raped, though. I don't think it's like, oh, help me. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's certainly more passive women who just like kind of shut down inside and like can't even deal with it psychologically, and then there's the women who are more like no, I'm going to literally destroy you if you
rip your dick off.
Right, exactly.
Well, Jamie did ask her, or no, she asked him, well, what would you do if you were a woman? Would you just say to lay there and take it? He said, no, I'd make them kill me.
Right, exactly. Which like, mad props to her for that. And I share your feeling that those motherfuckers need to die, and I actually hope that she kills them, but I think Jamie might kill them.
See, interesting that these people, these are Stark people, and they would be the good guys in any other circumstance. Right. They want to have vengeance on Jamie for all that he inflicted on the Stark family. Right. Yet they're not good guys because they're fucking trying to rape this woman. So
exactly,
so there are no good guys in this world apparently.
Exactly, and it's just sort of like you just get how fucked up the world is when it's like, that's a thing. That's what happens. People rape women. It's just like,
and men.
There you go. Yeah, and men, and Theon Greyjoy in the ass.
See that like I said, I'm better off undead. This sort of shit happens all over the world all the time. People are raped all the time. It's disgusting, and it's just the evil of men. Men are animals. That's all there really is to it. Not all men, obviously. I mean, obviously, I am. No,
and cultural influence has a lot on. It's like any rape is too much, but it's like we have such a lower percentage than they do in, like, let's say Africa, where it's literally like endemic. And
because it's like a war-torn nation. You got these warlords going around raping people, and they use it in war, especially. And
down there isn't even like a social stigma attached to it, because there's no fucking society where it happens. It's like it's just happening everywhere all the time, and it's just a fact of life. And it's like, yes, obviously it happens here too much, and there is a whole pervasive culture that assists it and perpetuates it, and that's terrible. But it's like, and then you look at a situation like that, and you're like, Jesus Christ, that's fucking terrible.
To go even further into this hole, there is actually a belief among many of the people in Africa if you have AIDS, the way to cure it is by raping somebody without AIDS. Is that
No,
fucked up
there
or
is
what?
not.
Yes, there is. And of course, you know, the religious people all go over there and say, no, don't use birth control. Don't use condoms. They're bad. So it just, it perpetuates it even more and more and more. And it's just one big fucking mess.
Jesus.
You can do a whole show. I'm going to turn
Christ.
this into a political show.
Oh, I feel physically ill. I actually like, oh. Blah, blah, blah.
Give us a half hour. We'll take joy out of your life.
We will ruin your fucking week. A Game of Geeks.
A bad news channel.
Welcome to A Game of Geeks, where we will fucking ruin your mood. We will destroy your happiness.
See, that's you should have had Sean on this show instead of me. It'd be one big happy unicorn fest.
No, I don't think that Sean would be able to. Well, he handles Walking Dead. I think that he could handle it. I just don't think that he'd be that into Game of Thrones as we are.
Oh no, I think he'd love it. He just doesn't have the time, and I don't think he has HBO at the moment. So no, it's totally up his alley though. He'd like it.
Yeah. The scenes with Ron in this show were pretty awesome. Like, I like that he's a badass. You know what I mean?
Who?
Rob. Sorry, I think I said Ron.
I was like Ron. I was like, who the hell's Ron?
No.
Rob. Yeah. Well, Rob's a little misguided.
You think so?
Well, he basically when he was talking about, you know, trading for his sisters, he didn't seem like he gave a shit. He was consigned to the fact that they were gone.
Well, I don't think that he was consigned to the fact that they were gone, but I think he was more just making a point where he was like, they've got my sisters, and am I suing for peace? No, because I know that I wouldn't get peace and I wouldn't get my sisters. Like, I wouldn't get either one of those things.
But wouldn't you try, though? Wouldn't you try?
No, because he is smart in all of the ways that not in all of the ways, but he's a little bit smarter than his dad, frankly. Like, you know, where like Ned Stark was like, I make a deal with you and you're going to keep that deal. Rob's like, no, like, I know even if I made a deal, they wouldn't keep that deal. So I'm not even going to try to make a deal. I might make a deal when I really have a playing card. Like, I think if he still had Jaime, he would sue for peace. And he would go to Tywin Lannister and he would say, listen, your son, the only real heir that you have for my sisters. We all call it even. We draw the borderlines. We're done. And that's why he's so pissed off that his mom let Jaime go. I think that's the real source for his anger, is it removed the only means he had of actually getting his sisters back.
Now, what was her reason was to appease the Lannisters, basically, and hope that they would give up, you know, her children.
And she was afraid that Rob's men were going to kill Jaime before. Right. And if Jaime had died, it would have been over. Everything everything would have been done.
So she did the right thing.
Well, except that what Rob was saying was that his men were loyal enough to listen to him,
but they weren't. They were fighting, though. They were fighting with him about, you know, keeping this guy around. They wanted Jaime's blood. They wondered why he was keeping him alive, didn't they?
It's true. So it's one of those things of like, if they'd kept him alive, and if Rob had kept him and his bannermen had obeyed their king and let him live, then Rob would have been in the right. But if they'd kept Jaime around and his bannermen had disobeyed their king and killed Jaime, then Rob would have been in the wrong. So it's like, you will never know whether Rob was right or wrong in his decision. And that's cool, like, as a storytelling thing. Like, I appreciate that. But now Rob has nothing. Jaime's free. Jaime has no incentive to keep his promise about his sisters, and So Rob's like, well, now I've got nothing. I've got no bargaining chips whatsoever. Thanks, Mom.
Oh, we didn't see Jeffrey this week.
Who? Oh, Joffrey?
Joffrey, yeah, we didn't see him.
Fuck that.
I hate that.
Seriously. But it looks like he's gonna be in the next episode. I watched the preview for next episode or whatever, and it looks like he and Marjorie and Marjorie's grandmother and Cersei all feature strongly and sort of have some sort of interaction.
Cool.
Yeah. I really like Marjorie and her grandmother. They're swiftly becoming very cool characters in my book.
I'm wanting more to happen with Arya.
Yeah, yeah.
And I felt like filler, and you know, it had to be in there, but I just felt like, you know, they're just moving the pieces around until she gets something.
Right, exactly. It was like, just so you know, she's off with the Hound and these people doing this stuff. Next week, something awesome.
I'm surprised, you know, they got to say goodbye to that hot pie kid or whatever.
Yeah, although, again, that was like...
Surprised he wasn't just killed.
Right. Again, though, that was pretty realistic because it's like you would have somebody who lives and just is sort of like, guys, I'm out because this is all kind of fucked.
Yeah,
somebody wants me to be a
really
baker.
Fat, and you know, I'm not gonna be able to run away or fight or do anything. So
exactly.
Yeah, okay, I would have stayed there too, bacon.
This has been bugging me the whole show. You have this object to your left, as I look at you, the right side of your screen, that is this very phallic-looking object. That, yes.
It's Opus, the penguin.
Oh,
do you not know who this is?
Of course I know who that is. No, I definitely know who that is. But from that far away, with the resolution of the camera, it just looked like this gigantic dong.
No, my dildo collection is off camera.
And Chrissy totally agrees with me. So anyway, I just wanted to clear that up. Yeah. Where were we?
You're wishful thinking about my dildo collection.
Yeah, exactly.
You are the one,
gigantic
you know,
dong collection.
In your closet, however, so God only knows what's behind you.
That's true. That's true.
What's behind that closed door?
But no, that's actually the open door. So if I close it, you can see my robe rack, and then that's my robe, and that's Megan's robe, and then that's Megan's sexy robe.
Where's the gimp outfit?
That's behind the snowboard. That right there, that's my snowboard. So the gimp outfit is behind the snowboard.
Do you actually live somewhere where it snows? Are you in that far north in California?
No, I'm in Southern California, but when you're in LA, you can drive an hour and you're in Big Bear, which is a snow resort.
Okay. Right.
Or you can drive 5 hours and you're in Mammoth, so that's like a weekend trip. I've been snowboarding since I was like 12.
Cool.
So, you know, like 6 years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did we cover everything?
We did cover everything, and we've also sort of hit the time limit, so, you know, time limit, whatever. We're so fucking professional and on schedule on this show. All right, this has been a Game of Geeks. I am Garrett Robinson. With me is David Wright. I would tell you to check out our website, but I haven't gotten the chance to build it yet this week. It will be up by next week's show, I promise you.
So the only way people are finding us is on YouTube right now?
That's right. So subscribe on YouTube right now, and then pretty soon you'll be able to subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us reviews and whatnot. Check out my blog, gbr0benson.com. David is davidwwright.com. And, yeah, we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
It's a bit of a long fade out. Maybe.
Holy shit.